Happy February. So, I know if you watched my last video, I talked about how I want to read one particular author's entire catalog thus far. And that is none other than Ann Liang. Now, I do not follow her on any social media, so I'm not sure about that kind of thing from following her social media and then thus wanting to read her work. Reading up on it, she announced her first published book in 2021, and things kind of took off from there. And the reason why I chose this author specifically is because I have an advanced reader copy of all 6 of her books, from her first released one to the 2 that aren't even fully released yet. And I thought none other better than to read all 6 books in the month of February. So, with that, let me give you a little background on who Ann Liang is. She is a 24-year-old woman who was born in Beijing, and her life has been going back and forth between China and Australia. And she has been going back and forth between China and Australia, so not from the US, but has somehow, according to her bio, ended up with an American accent anyway. And yeah, she also will have a TV show coming out for her debut book, which I will talk about. And yeah, it's totally just for my own curiosity. I don't think I have this much of an author's catalog that isn't like part of a series. These are all standalones, except for If You Could See the Sun, which will have a sequel in 2026. And yeah, so let me tell you what these books are, and then I will get into where we're at already on the second day of February. So here we go. Starting with the debut, we have If You Could See the Sun, and this follows a girl, to my understanding, where she wants to be invisible, and then she does become invisible, and she kind of uses that as a way to make money. And yeah, because her parents can't afford her tuition. This synopsis was definitely appealing to me all the way back in 2022 when this book released. So genuinely curious about this one. Next one that came out after that, all of these are incredible synopsises that I am like so into. So it makes me really excited for all of these. This time It's Real. And this is about a girl who is applying to colleges, and she writes about a relationship in her college essay, and now she has to like keep up the lie that she met the love of her life, and it just sounds so intriguing, and like media and drama and romance. So this we're titling the sophomore novel. And the next one is the one that I'm actually currently reading at the time of this recording. I woke up in the middle of the night, as I tend to do, and I got an ebook through one of my library apps that was available, and just flew through the first 70 pages. So that's where we're currently at. And that book is I Hope This Doesn't Find You. And so far it's like enemies to lovers, I'm sure. The main character writes these passive-aggressive, kind of mean emails that are about classmates and her arch rival, many emails about her arch rival, and teachers and the like, because she's valedictorian. She wants to get into a college of her dreams. and she has a reputation to uphold. But those emails get sent out to everyone. So chaos ensues. This is going to be the bestseller. Then she kind of shifted gears. The first three are all young adult novels. And then she came out not even that long ago, October of last year, with her fantasy debut, which is A Song to Drown Rivers. And I don't know too much about the plot. On the back here, it says that the main character's beauty is seen as a blessing, and she is fated to marry well, and her beauty is used as a weapon. So very intriguing. I like that there's a fantasy novel thrown in there because it will break up the pace of everything else. And this is going to be the fantasy debut. Then she has 2 books coming out this year, which is really exciting. And all of these are through, or a majority of these are all through different publishers. So we got some Scholastic, we got Harper. So very impressive for her age, to be pumping out these novels with what seems to me incredible plots. And I really hope they all hold up. I mean, so far, the one that I'm starting and into currently is really, really good. But the next one in the catalog is I Am Not Jessica Chen, and it's another school YA based story. Character spent her life in the shadow of her cousin, and she wants to become like the smartest person in the world, or being the model student, and then people seem to be forgetting her. Yeah, it sounds like a switcheroo situation, like between her and her cousin. Yeah, so this sounds super intriguing, and this comes out in April, so we are gonna call this the coming. Lastly, the next book that comes out in June, that I am really, really excited for, like I said, excited for all of these. It is Never Thought I'd End Up Here, and I love the train on the cover, and I believe this is about a girl who has spent her life in LA, and then her language skills accidentally destroys her cousin's wedding, and her parents force her to go on this international like trip to polish up her Mandarin, and of course the boy that she least likes is on that trip with her. So this is the latest that we'll be talking about. So all of these books, I just plan to kind of read out of order, but I will label them with what I'm titling them for this video, and I'll discuss as I read along. 6 books for the shortest month of the year shouldn't be too challenging, but I'm very excited. So let's get into it. Day 3 of February, and we have finished our first book of this challenge, and that is I Hope This Doesn't Find You. And I tag this as the best seller, not the best seller because she has like 3 best-selling novels and this is one of them, but just that this definitely has a lot more media attention than her other 4 published works, and so that's why I wanted to title this as the bestseller. And this is already a 5-star. Like, I flew through this. I ate this up in a couple days. I would say it kind of gives the sweetness and the lightheartedness of To All the Boys I've Loved Before, but this is more on an enemies to lovers standpoint. And what I loved was the main character's personality, Sadie. And there was a lot of depth to this novel beyond just surface level, which I love, love, love in books. And her rivalry with Julius was so entertaining, and like I just really, really enjoyed how Ann Liang had crafted each scenario to lead up to our final moments. And the final moment, like the full-on ending, kind of abrupt, but not in a way where it was too much of a issue for me, because I think it makes a ton of sense. Whereas a lot of these young adult contemporaries that have like a happily ever after ending is kind of a not realistic to what high school level realism looks like. So like there's like an email correspondence at the end, and that's kind of how we wrap up the book. And I think that was just fitting for what the whole plot of this book was, and for the fact that they're in high school and have limited, you know, outside access, if you will, like meaning that they're still under a parent guardianship and don't have the ability to just hop in the car and head out. You know what I mean? So yes, this already exceeded my expectations. And if her earlier novels are just as good writing wise as this one, I think we're going to have a pretty good reading month. I anticipate, or my hope is, that she can only go up from this book, and this is her third book. So the fantasy novel, I feel like I'm the least excited for, because already I can tell that YA contemporary, or like YA realistic fiction with a little bit of a magical twist, is more of her style. So yeah, I hope this doesn't find you very, very good. And definitely deserves all the hype that it's been getting. Like I said, I just ate it up. It was so crazy how I just was able to get an ebook and then read it during the middle of the night, and then just like immediately was like, yep, we're going into it. On to the next. I just had a really, really nice chill time, couple hours at one of my favorite local cafes. And we just finished book number 2. We finished the debut, If You Could See the Sun. And this is another 5 stars. What can I say? We follow Alice, who goes to a very elite private school. A whole bunch of her classmates are like sons and daughters of really rich families that have businesses or are models or singers. And she's the daughter of very hardworking, lower class parents. And she, one day, out of the blue, turns invisible, and she doesn't know what to do. She doesn't have any close friends, but she does have her high school enemy, Henry. And so she goes to his dorm invisible and is like, I'm having a crisis. I'm invisible. Help. And thus sparks the whole journey of this book, where she then works with Henry to monetize her invisible abilities, and she doesn't remain invisible. Like, she goes in and out of being invisible like every couple days for like a few minutes. And they create this app where people can anonymously send her jobs to do, to kind of expose students' dirty secrets and like help them with various things, and they get progressively more intense. all so she could help her parents pay for her school fees. And just absolutely incredible work for a debut, especially. And I am just so, like, fulfilled. Like, there was just something so powerful about it, and especially the last few pages. Like, I don't know what it was. I was listening to lo-fi, which usually gets me in an emotional mood, and I just, like, felt the burning of tears behind my eyes. But, like, obviously I'm in public, so I wasn't gonna, like, full on cry. Very, very good, and has me, like, hoping it's not too good to be true, you know what I mean? Because we have, I hope this doesn't find you, 5-star. We have this one, 5-star. And, like, maybe I'm being too generous, but I also feel like she knows what she's doing, and she's doing it well. And both of these books I've read so far are kind of the enemies to lovers type of trope, as well. But this, I liked that this one had more of a supernatural element to it. It did get a little lost, the invisibility stuff towards the end there. But it just filled me up. Like, I really needed this today because my fiance is working for some training on our second off day. So, like, I just had to fill some time somehow, and this is how I did it, and I am so grateful. So I'll let you know what we'll be reading next. This has me very, very anxious to get into the other 4 books. And so far, this author, yeah, I recommend. So let's see what the next one will be. That's cool. Good morning. It is Saturday, February 15th. So yesterday was Valentine's Day. Me and my fiance had a really nice, relaxing, chill time. He made dinner, and then we watched a movie that I've never seen before, which is Love Actually. And it was fantastic, and I highly recommend. It was between that or The Matrix, and both are 2-hour long movies, but we figured for a nice Valentine's easy breezy night, Love Actually was the way to go, and we made the right choice. So where are we at? We are on book 3. We're on the sophomore novel, This Time Is Real, and I am on page 144. And it follows a teen who is writing a college essay, and she doesn't want to be personal because they, like, share these essays out with the school or something like that. And so she decides to write about a fake relationship and all of that stuff. And then it blows up. Like, BuzzFeed posts it, media sources are sharing it all over. It's like, what's the word? It's spreading all throughout Twitter, and she's getting all these comments, and now she's in a pickle because everyone has read her essay and she doesn't have a boyfriend. And so who else other than the actual celebrity actor classmate of hers, who would mutually benefit from publicity, the both of them. And she gets offered this internship at her dream, like, publisher, if you will, or something like that, and she has 6 months to do this internship, and so that's how long they intend to be together. And we just follow the events from there, and clearly, very clearly, they're going to end up together regardless of this fake relationship. I mean, if it works, it works, but I think that the enemies to lovers plotline is being a little redundant in each of these 3 books so far. I don't really want to get into the fantasy one after this. However, I fear that if I jump into the um, unreleased titles, they're going to feel way too similar to what I've already read. And so I kind of want something to break it up. But yeah, so today I'm working, coming home a little later. I hope to finish this before tomorrow because I only have this coming weekend, or I only have tomorrow and Monday to really finish another one, and then I'm going away with my partner the next weekend and intend to read, but I really wanted to read Wings of Starlight by Alison Saft. But if I want to complete this challenge, I need to bring the last two books for the trip. So we'll see. It's going to be snowy tomorrow. Not really doing anything extreme, so I hope to have a lot of reading time. And then Monday, we're kind of going around doing some things, and hopefully I don't get home too late that I can also fill in with some reading time. So yeah, that is where we're at currently, and I will let you know my thoughts when I finish the book. And we're back to the weekend. Thank goodness. Yesterday was a really difficult day, but we got through it. So now it's just a me day. My fiance is shooting for video for one of our friends. They run a YouTube channel called The Cartridge Crusaders. So definitely check them out. And if you don't know, my fiance has a video game channel where he plays different games and he reviews them, or he talks about the history behind them. It's very, very cool. That is Dueling Dragon Gaming, if you want to subscribe to him as well. So while he's away for the day and I have nothing to do except read, and it's very snowy and rainy. Well, it's raining right now. We had snow yesterday or overnight, so it's just a very chill day. And what we did is we finished the sophomore novel, This Time It's Real. And I gave this 4 stars. What I really loved about this one is just how our main character, Eliza, kind of came to her senses in the end. And, you know, honesty is the best policy sometimes, and the weight of lying in any book I read where the plot kind of surrounds a lie and multiple lies that follow, the weight is just so heavy. And this novel did a really great job of showing and portraying, showing that kind of weight and detriment that it has on a character and a person, because it's a very real to have those kind of emotions when you're lying all the time and hiding your true self. I think this is the third book that feels so similar to the other two. And I just need kind of a break from that. So, yeah, but I love how you can tell what the author values and what the author really, I think, feels insecure about. All of the main characters we've met so far have an insecurity about their identity because they don't seem Chinese enough. All of these books are set in Beijing so far, and so we get a lot of the characters that have either been to America and come back, or are just like, their accent isn't right, their Mandarin isn't correct, or they're not fluent in it. They get classmates and strangers questioning, are you Chinese enough? And that was big, like really, really big in this one, because the main character in this lived in the US for a while and then came back. I believe, I'm pretty sure. And from what I know about Ann Liang and her bio, that seems to be similar to her own life because she's been between Australia and Beijing, maybe the US, I'm not 100%. And so I think there is that kind of reflection between the author and the characters that I've met so far, where it's just a portrayal of not really knowing where you fit, where you belong. And I kind of relate to that. Like, I've never left the US, but like my identity myself, like, I sometimes don't know exactly where I fit, because of my upbringing, my culture. I feel like sometimes I have a lack of culture, even though I'm mixed race. And yeah, so I just really appreciate these narratives and the kind of portrayal and questions that come through within them, and how the main characters try and find who they are at their heart. So, third book done. What I'm doing to kind of cleanse my palate, if you will, is I'm taking a little sidetrack from our Ann Liang readathon, basically. And this is a middle grade novel that has been on my radar for a while. And I saw a booktuber who recommended it as their, like, one of their top middle grades of 2024. And I tried to get into it once, didn't get very far. I think it requires much more time and attention than when I tried to get into it. It's a novel in verse. So I thought, yeah, I could jump right in and fly through it. No. But we started it this morning. It's called Midair. I took the dust jacket off, by Alicia D. Williams, I believe. Yep. And I did get farther. I got to page 95. So it's like a 300-page book. I want to finish this first, and then get into our fourth Ann Liang book, which is going to be The Fantasy, A Song to Drown Rivers. This is definitely the most different out of all 6 of the novels I plan on reading. And so I really hope I enjoy this one, because this seems like the author's kind of, what's the word? Like, sidestep. So yeah, stay tuned for my thoughts on this. Why, hello, yet again. I am back and I am not home. Me and my partner are away for the weekend, just taking a nice little getaway so that I don't have to worry about chores or, just clear my mind a little bit. Room is so big. Like, it's kind of echoey in here, I'm sure. But so I am 50 pages left in A Song to Drown Rivers. And I love, especially as I kept reading, how different the voice is, compared to the first 3 books. And yeah, I think it's definitely set apart from the rest of her catalog. I like how different it feels. This follows Zishi, who is a regular girl in a village, and the, like, general to the king of the Yu people is going around and taking the most beautiful woman to be the concubine for the king of the Wu kingdom. And so none other than Zishi. And we are following her being trained to be in the nobility, and she has to be a spy for the Yu kingdom. And so we are dealing with all of that. She is figuring out how not to be discovered, and she's trying to hide her affections for the general. And, she's now the concubine for the king, and we're seeing all the trials and complications that come with that. And yeah, there's 50 pages left. I don't know how this is going to end. I'm optimistic about how it will wrap up. I hope it's just a standalone, because I don't think it needs anything more than what it already has. And yeah, I brought the last two Ann Liang books for this challenge with me. And then I brought a graphic novel that comes out this year called A Song for You and I, because it's very short and very easy to read. So if I need like a break from Ann Liang, I have that. And then I also have Shark Heart by Emily Hibbert, who is a frequent author that comes in to sign her books for orders, which is really cool. But I want to try to get to that. I doubt it with everything going on. But yeah, we're here tonight and we're here all day tomorrow. We're not going out anywhere, just staying inside in this really nice hotel room. And then Monday morning, we are going to take off. So yeah, that's how things are going to go. And I will update you, hopefully, after I read each of the last 3 books. Stay tuned. And just like that, we're back home. I got a lot of reading done over the weekends, so I'm gonna give you all the updates. So I finished A Song to Drown Rivers, and this was solid for a fantasy debut. Like, yeah, I really enjoyed the main character Zishi, and I really liked the plot that was going on of like undercover spy almost, and how she had to pretend to have affection for the king of the Wu Kingdom. And yeah, the ending felt a little rushed and a bit underdeveloped, if that makes sense, because I can't spoil it, but something happens, and the last 2 chapters, I was just like, oh, come on. Like, kind of one of those things. But yeah, I gave this a 4-star. I feel like the more she's written, the less I'm interested. Because, so we started off very strong with her 3rd book, which I think is her top one, which is I Hope This Doesn't Find You Well. Or no, I Hope This Doesn't Find You. And then I think her debut with If You Could See the Sun was very, very strong as well. So those 2 are like my top ones. Then I think A Song to Drown Rivers is kind of in the middle of everything. And then this time it's Real. And then I Am Not Jessica Chen are kind of at my bottom tier out of this challenge. And with I Am Not Jessica Chen, it follows our main character Jenna, who is kind of compared to her cousin Jessica all the time, because Jessica is like very smart, very pretty, very popular, gets into Harvard, whereas Jenna does not. So that's kind of where the beginning of the novel takes place. And then there's a shooting star, and Jenna wishes on it that she could become Jessica, and lo and behold, she does. So we follow Jenna living through Jessica's body and life for a little bit, and how that affects her relationships, and also what is happening to her body. Where is she at? Lots of twists. Well, not really. Like, it was just kind of more of a, I mean, even the author says it, that this is a book about wanting and all of that stuff. So yeah, I mean, I read this over the full weekend. I started and finished it at the hotel. I don't know. I think this was the least interesting, even though the plot isn't, like, the idea is there. Yeah, I wasn't feeling it. And then I have one more left. I have the 6th book, which comes out in June. Never thought I'd be here. And I got 50 pages in at the hotel. And I plan on picking it up today, hopefully, and try to finish it. But I'm just like, now I'm not really feeling it. And her writing's incredible. Like, I'm very happy about that the writing quality is up there. But it's the plots that, beyond the fantasy novel, they are kind of blending together, and the voices aren't as distinct. And yeah, I feel like it's like kind of copy paste with a little embellishing here and there. But yeah, otherwise, books I did also read over the break or over the vacation was The Song for Us or something like that by Kay O'Neill. It's an upcoming graphic novel if it's not already out yet, but that was cute. A lot of like Scottish architectural or medieval influence in the art, which was nice. And it had a little bit to do about gender. And yeah, it was just sweet, simple, very quick. And then I also read Shark Heart by Emily Habert, I believe. And she comes in to the bookstore quite frequently and signs some books. So that is really cool. And I got a copy of her book and finally read it. Highly recommend. And yeah, so one more book to end this challenge. Hopefully, we got 3 more days. It's the 25th. So we got a couple more days until the end of February. And then we will see where it goes from there. Stay tuned. Did I finish reading all of Ann Liang's catalog? I did, as of last night. It is the last day of February, and I am very, very happy to say that I did complete the challenge. Excuse the sun. It is a very sunny day, which I love. So obviously the blinds are going to be in my face the whole time. So here they all are. Very, very exciting and very surprising. I feel like I did not anticipate to enjoy this challenge as much as I did. So the way I'm going to wrap this up is I'm going to rank best to least favorite. And obviously these opinions are my own, and I feel like my opinions would have been different if I read them over the course of a couple years versus all in 1 month. But starting with the best, I would have to say that the 2 that were absolute 5 stars were I Hope This Doesn't Find You and If You Could See the Sun. Both of these kicked off the challenge very strongly. They feel very similar in their character and relationship plots, but the plots in general are different between these both. And I just thought it was well done in both of these, and 5 stars. So if I were to recommend any to try out either one of these 2 first. Then I would say that A Song to Drown Rivers, excuse me, was my next favorite. I really enjoyed the different style and voice in this one, and the plot was pretty good. The ending just lowered my rating a little bit. But I would say if you want to get into a fantasy novel that's light and easy to read, I would suggest this one. And then I would say This Time It's Real would fall under that. I thought this was good. I gave it 4 stars. The plot was feeling very similar to the first 2 books with its whole setup. And I'm like, okay, are we a copy-paste writer? But I still enjoyed it. I still thought it was lighthearted and fun and sweet. So that would follow from there. And then the last one that I finished, Never Thought I'd End Up Here, not Never Thought I'd Be Here. I would say that would fall under This Time It's Real because, again, it felt very copy-paste from the rest of the novels beyond the fantasy one. Yeah, so following that, this comes out in June. And then my least favorite, which I'm surprised, but my least favorite was I Am Not Jessica Chen. And the reason why is because the plot was fantastic, but here's my gripe with Ann Liang's work. And it's a very small one in its entirety, but I feel like it has to be addressed. What happens is we start off, the first half of each of these books are so strong, and then by the second half, we're more focused on the love interest and the love and like the romance plot than giving the actual plot the girth that it's due. Like, if that makes sense. So basically, every story has fantastic openings and lays out the conflicts so well. And then by the second half, you're like, wait, what are we reading about again? Because it just feels like the same relationship with variations, and it's all enemies to lovers type of deal, except for the fantasy one. Like, these are all in the contemporary YA ones, so like the fantasy is on its own level. That was way different than the rest of these. But that, and I feel like if I read them over the course of years, I might not have picked up on that. But because I read them all in 1 month and pretty much back to back, it was just feeling very samey. So yeah, I mean, but regardless of that, is she an incredible writer? Yeah, for being 24 years old and have 6 books under her belt, published and unpublished, like that's extraordinary. So I highly recommend Ann Liang for if you want a sweet YA romance. Some are rom-com-y, some are more deeper than that. I'm curious for a sequel for If You Could See the Sun, which is in the works. And then there's a TV show and that's going to be in development for If You Could See the Sun, and I think that would be very interesting. Yeah, this was a fun challenge. I recommend, if you have an author that has more like standalone novels, because these are primarily standalone, if you have an author that you haven't tried and you want to get a feel of their writing, I recommend you try a challenge like this, because it was just really nice to see author's growth. Like, I tried to read them in chronological order beyond the beginning of the challenge, and yeah, like you could see the polish each book, like progressing through each book. So yeah, this was fun. Next challenge in March is Mystery March, and I don't read a ton of mystery, and so it's mostly going to be YA, of course. But yeah, I'm excited. I have a couple books that have been on my TBR for a while that are mystery, and I have a couple books that are more newer that are mystery. And yeah, it's going to be exciting. So I hope you stay tuned for that. And please like and subscribe if you'd like to. And let me know if you've read any Ann Liang or want to, or if you have any recommendations of authors I should try another challenge like this out for. That would be fun as well. So thank you for watching and have a wonderful day.